Hi, I'm Gokul from Karuna University, studying final year BTech in Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. And this is my TeachBack AI, an AI-powered learning platform in which generally a normal AI just gives a concept what you are asking. But in this, the AI completely make you to understand the concept clearly and explains you and tests you and evaluates you that you have clearly understand or not. In generally, TeachBack AI solves that using a simple learning loop. Explain, test, teach back, and evaluate. This is the whole concept that we are going to follow in this whole application. Let me show you the live demo of this whole project. So this is the coding part of our TeachBack AI. For before that, I explain the coding part. I generally explains the front end tools, back end tools, and the connections what I have used. So for front end, I used React and a TypeScript and also White. Why I used React? React is used to build the user interface, and the TypeScript gives the type safety, and the White provides the development and build setup. I also used Tailwind CSS for styling. Then for a backend purpose, for I use Python and Fast API. Fast API handles the API request as a well-structured one and with a secured layer, and also a communication with Gemini. So to communicate with the AI and for tech teachback AI, we use the Gemini API. And then I use the Pydantic. Pydantic approach is to validate that the proper format of JSON format structure is given by a Gemini, and also that is communicated with TeachBack AI properly. And I used the REST API. The front end and back end communicate through REST API. REST API is act like a bridge between a front end and a back end. When the student enters a topic, the React front end sends a request to the Fast API, the backend. The backend processes it using a Gemini API and sends the structured response back to the front end. So this is the whole concept that acts like a communication between a front end and back end, and also with the REST API. Then coming to our coding part, and this is a backend part, backend structure where I used a .env. This file is generally for storing our Gemini API purpose, which should be secured properly. And these are the coding part, like I generated using a AI as a wipe coder. So main.py is the most important in the our whole concept, where we able to run the code, and this is the front end part. So in this also we have various modules and Node.js nodes. These are the important modules that we have downloaded and imported. Apart from this, index.html, we know that whole concept will be integrated into the one file that is called index.html. Then we also created a readme file which explains the whole project in a clear manner, structured way. It is in the repository of my GitHub. It will be explained in much better way. I will also show that to you. After that, requirement.txt file is most important one, where we need download what are the necessary things that we have to do. So this is the file, and the necessary things like Fast API, Ubicon, Google Gen API, Gen API, and Pydantic approach, then Python.env. So all this I have explained you properly. Now let's go into the live demonstration of our project. So to run the front end part, we use a command called npm run dev. After entering it, the localhost link will be given, and we should open it. So I'm pasting the localhost URL, and our website has been opened. Before that, we also need to activate our backend that I have already activated. This is our backend part. So this is a backend part of, and this is the backend part doc part. So in which we can with before going directly to a front end, we can explain it. We can evaluate or check it using the backend docs. Okay. Then this is the I will explain you what this URL, and let's come into this localhost URL, and this is our UI part where the user communicate with our application. So this is generally the normal UI. I don't much make it a more complex or more interceptive way. So in this, first the user need to ask what doubt, what topic does he have doubt, or what he need to clarify it. So generally I am typing like I want a topic on supervised machine learning. So supervised. And I'm a AID student, so I have a beginner knowledge, but also I give a beginner knowledge and explain what is the difference between beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So after clicking a start learning, the request has been sent to the Gemini API through a REST API, and the backend is processing. With we should wait for a few more minutes, few more seconds, and it will be generate the whole beginner concept of what supervised learning is. Then we coming into the topic of it gives the whole structure of supervised machine learning basic concept and beginner concept. After that, it will be traced back to our next. Does we understand the process clearly? It's like to check that we have a, quiz competition or quizzing. So in that we can choose. For a beginner we have a MCQ part, and for a intermediate we have a small written format for like does he understand the concept. Like if they ask question, we should have to write the answer in 1 or 2 sentences. After to that, an advanced part is like a passage or scenario based one, where how we should apply and how we should react to that. In that format it will be generated. So then it's so we received that supervised machine learning. What is supervised machine learning? So in one sentence, a method in artificial intelligence where a computer algorithm learn to make a prediction or decision by studying examples that already include the correct answer. We generally know that supervised machine learning is a learning from a labeled document, labeled images, or labeled text. So this is the key beginner concept that has been generated through Gemini. So the ideas that matter are labeled data. This is the keyword that is used in a supervised machine learning. Supervised machine learning learns from a labeled data. Then all the necessary things that have been given that should be known of the topic supervised machine learning for a beginner has been given. Then if you want to test your understanding after learning all this, if you want to test your understanding, then click test your understanding. It will generate to the quizzing part. So it takes few more seconds. Once again. After that, if you want further next advanced level, then after to choose, it will be generate you to the explain teach back. The name begins teachback AI. So this is the quiz part. So you can answer the question, answer them by reading the question. What is the training dataset contained in a supervised machine learning? So as we know, the training dataset contains the labeled data. So only the unlabeled data, not input paired with their correct target output, prediction made on the brand new random rules. So this is the correct answer. Input paired with their correct target output. This is called the labeled data. And for this, what is the primary objective of algorithm during the training phase? To hide the patterns? No. To analyze the data to find pattern and rules connecting input to the output. Yes, this is the correct answer. And I just click randomly in accordance with the time. So we got all everything were correct. And next, now if I completed this part, now I come back to the teach back AI part. In this, it comes to explain. You should explain what you understand. So I just explain in a one line, but it should be elaborative and it should be explain the whole concept what you have understand. Then only it will give according to your explanation give marks. So I just simply write supervised. It is supervised machine learning is it learns from a labeled data. I just write this. So I just write one point, but there are many points that have been given during the learning module. So it will evaluate what you have understand. Now it will give you the score of how you have understand. See, just 45%. So you have correctly what you understand. See, you should understand, and what you need to understand also it has been clearly explained. So see here, you will understand the label concept clearly. Supervised learning is a labeled data. But apart from that, it is used for classification and regression. It is used for future and labels and training phases. So all this part will be explainable, and it should be learned properly. If you not teach back to the AI, then it concludes that you have been not knowing the whole concept clearly. After that, if you need to go for another topic, you can go for another topic. That's all. This is the whole application I have developed. And next, I will explain you what are all the AI that what are the things that AI makes fault, and what are my innovatives I have added. How is the technology how I transformed the AI concept into the correct format, AI mistakes into the correct one. I will explain you all things. One thing that AI got wrong during the development was the response format. Gemini sometimes returned a response that did not exactly match with our JSON structure. That's my backend expected. For example, the evaluation response could contain a missing fields or a extra fields. So this caused a collision between a front end and a back end and a Gemini. So I properly notified that the Pythonic approach is not proper. Pythonic schema is not clear. So I just I didn't blindly follow that's the AI mistake or something. I didn't clearly do that. I just know what the mistake has been happened before my hands-on experience. Then I make that approach to be clear. I want a Pythonic schema to be clearly explained by a Gemini API. Then I fixed this by making the prompts much more explicit about the required JSON structure, and I added the proper pydantic schema validation using a model dot validation. Then I trained the model from end to end. I received a proper output. And also one more thing I want to explain you that what decision I made. So I generally explained you about what the concept here I have explained, right? But one important thing I have noticed and I have planned is like for a beginner, he or she should not know to write a immediate learning process into a text format or one for a passage format. So for a beginner level, I implemented a quiz process which we have seen earlier. Now I will explain you the intermediate process. I explained you right for intermediate process. I want a few lines of explanation by given by him or her. Then for advanced process, advanced person, he should make a proper scenario based question. The AI generates a scenario based question, and he should give a proper scenario based answer to that. If he is given a proper scenario based answer, then he or she's answer will be corrected and evaluated by the uh, TeachBack AI application. So I will also give you the intermediate person's login or teaching part. So for this, I'm going to use a any other normal topics like shall we go with the generative AI? Now we go with the intermediate. Earlier, we saw that for teaching learning part, it gives a structured one, and for a quiz part, it gives a MCQ based quiz. And here, it will give a quiz part as the person needs to be entered. So this is the given whatever things. So generally, hallucinate, it uses a transformer architecture, latent space, fine tuning, and if we go and write the attend the quiz part, now it will completely change the scenario. In quiz part, it's going to be a person written text format. It's like a fill in the blank, not like a fill in the blank, but similarly, like if they are asking the question, we should have. It's like a 2 mark, yeah. It's like a 2 mark one. Let's see that, and we can wind up the explanation part, and we go for the GitHub repository, and see this is a one. So by the way, the intermediate can write at least write 1 or 2 sentences about what he have learned about Gen AI or any topic that he have learned. So, but in the advanced case scenario, he or he completely knows the topic almost 80%. So he can write almost he can solve or write almost one passage. That's the concept I have implemented, innovated here, and this is the whole concept which I liked most, and I enjoyed this during my project work. And I also deployed this through a render app. I can see this is the URL of our application, and if you go to this application URL, you can see our app and you can learn whatever things we have our app has been provided, and you can teach you or train you or test you and evaluate you how far you have understand that topic. Now let's go to my GitHub repo. So in this repo, after creating a repo, we just need to pull the project source code, everything into this repository. So in this repo, the README file explains our project, a complete for project. So TeachBack AI is learn it, explain it, prove you understand it. So generally, normal chat GPT or any LLM doesn't test you have understand or not. But this one will definitely do that. And the table of contents, all whatever why teach by AI, what is our future system architecture. Let me go to the system architecture and explain to you and wind up it. So system architecture, generally the student come and see the UI, and he react to he ask any question or topic that he or she has a doubt in it, and the REST API sends the signal to the backend, and the backend process with the Gemini API, and then the Gemini API gives the response, and also it validates. All these were formatted in a structured JSON format, and this is the complete workflow. The tech stack we used, I have explained you: React, TypeScript, White, Tailwind CSS. For a backend, Python, Fast API, and I also used the Pynatic approach, Schema, and Python.NET Ubicon. So project structure is like the project structure is more important in this. API endpoints, these are the rules that if anyone is following our project structure, he or she should clone this repository, and how to set up that in their system. Everything has been given, and everything the live demo of our project has been, that's the URL of our deployed project has been also given. In future improvement, we can do some learning history. We can store the history of our chats and personalized revision plan. If in a certain period, if you have tomorrow exam, then today evening we shall start the revision plan, and we make according to that. We can make develop into a complete personalized application for any student. So this is a demo and the core idea. That's all. Thank you.